right, well, welcome to a conversation with. I got my man Chris, the expert bowler, Muldrow with me, as well as George, GG3 Gohagen, uh, and I am Ronald Hicklin.
CEO.
Yeah, I always say that in the videos. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
man.
That's my
Let it
favorite
be
part of the
known.
video.
You know what
You
I'm
know it's
saying?
funny. You know it's
CEO of
funny.
I can create the difference. You say it so quick.
Yeah.
Sound like you be rapping.
So you. So let me tell you why I do that. Right. Let me tell you why I do that. So when I worked for Ebonite, um, I used to work for the CEO of Ebonite. I mean, I wouldn't work for him, but I worked with him. And I remember one day we were at a meeting, and he said to me, he said, "You know, you would make a good number two, but you could never be a CEO." That's what he said to me, and I was like, "Huh, that's interesting." So then when I ended up forming my own company, I'm CEO Ronald Hicklin, and we creating the difference over here.
Sitting in the same building that they own.
So that's where it came from, man. And then, every time we started doing videos, that's just what I say. It's funny too because the vast majority of people, they just get it, they appreciate it, and we move on. It's not a big deal. But you do get comments every now and again like, "Why are you always saying CEO? Why are you always saying that?" I'm like,
It's your
you-
title.
well, I mean, if you don't like it, the content's optional, bro. Like, you don't have to watch the content if you don't like it.
We
you know
got the
what I'm
view,
saying? I mean, yeah. But I appreciate you watching it. But that's where that came from. Like, he said he was like, "Yeah, you would be a good number two, but you can never be a CEO." So
Nah, I ain't gonna work.
That's crazy.
no.
Don't tell me I'm gonna be Memphis Bleak when I'm Jay-Z.
Facts. So yeah, that's where that came from, man. So anyway, this is just meant to be just kind of an open discussion about various topics, right? Anything. So we've known each other for a long time,
Yeah.
more than 20 years, which means we're old men. Actually,
Yeah, for sure.
think about it, we're old men.
For sure.
But I did want to ask, like, we worked together at Ebonite, and we all did ball testing. Like, you guys primarily did a lot of ball testing with me, and I would do the design and be in charge of getting the stuff ready to go to be tested. But then you'd have to go drill the balls, and you'd have to go throw the balls, and then give us feedback and let us know what they did and that kind of stuff. So, like, maybe this could be useful for other people that just don't know. Like, maybe explain from your perspectives what goes into testing a bowling ball.
A lot of work, man. It wasn't all just drilling balls and just bowling. I mean, it was hard work. I mean, drilling 60, 70 balls at a time, and even when you tired, trying to throw 10 of the same shot to get the, to get the reading good, and still trying to be sharp enough to know what the balls did, because they all was all the same. They was all one color, so it was like, if you had a good one, you had to remember which one was good, because it could get mixed in a pile of the other 70, and then here you are shuffling back through them again. But it was a fun time for sure, definitely.
I mean, I think that when I started, I was one of the first people to kind of start doing it. And it was actually just exciting to me to be able to try to help pick good products so that, we got stuff that's going to work. I mean, I was working in a pro shop, and I had been around bowling my whole life. I never knew an opportunity like that even existed. I didn't know that was like
Me
a
either.
thing, So,
Me either.
kind of just having the opportunity to participate in it was enough for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when you're in the pro shop setting, and like we were the ones saying, "Man, this ball's good. This ball's in. This is the one that should be it." And then later down the road, being in that pro shop and seeing it on the wall, I thought that was pretty dope too.
Yeah, like we picked that ball.
Yeah, we picked that one.
We picked that one.
I thought that was awesome, man. I mean, we got to see a lot of different shapes. I mean, some that didn't make it to, the final process. But, I mean, just to even see that process, I'm a bowler nerd, so I like that kind of stuff. Just to be on that side of the industry of it was dope to me. I mean, it was a real good time. Good time.
I didn't know that all that went into making a bowling
me
ball,
neither.
right? Like the data collection is the part that people don't see.
No.
You know, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, like actually drilling the balls and throwing the shots
Yeah.
to collect the data, but then having to process all the data and write out actual reports. I mean, it wasn't like a fun job; it was work.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think they just, I'm gonna take this core and this cover, and boom, we got a ball. It don't work like that. It don't
might
work like
start
that.
out like that, but it don't end up
it
like
don't
that.
end up like that. You know, because there was so many little variations of the balls that, you know what I'm saying, that we were testing. Like I said, it was work. It was work that I enjoyed though. Definitely one of the highlights of my bowling career was you know, testing balls under you. I mean, it was an awesome time. Learned a lot. I mean, that I still apply to today. You know, just my knowledge of bowling, more in depth with bowling balls makes me make better choices when I'm on the lanes, as opposed to just, you know, just the outside looking in. Now I get to actually see it from the inside. Like, I know what this core does now. You know, it definitely helped me.
For sure. I mean, seeing things like I know you showed us like in the past, like how the axis will migrate right along the lines of migration with the core and all that stuff. I mean, it's just like
I never knew
trying
any
to
of that.
explain that to people. You know, like they're not gonna get it. You
No.
kind of had to be there to see it to understand it. I mean, now you give out that information for free, but I mean,
It wasn't no avenue for that back then. You know, when I was drilling balls, it was
pen above the breeze.
that was it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I didn't lay out no balls. I didn't know nothing about no PAP. I didn't know nothing about none of that until I started working with you. I didn't know anything about that. It's amazing I shot as many 300s as I did because I was clueless, bro. I didn't know what was going on.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it still comes down to being able to repeat the shot, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, I think people feel like the ball is what makes them good, right? But it's just not the truth. The truth is you going in and putting in the work.
Yeah. You still got to make
You
good shots.
Making good shots. I mean, of the three of us, I had access to more bowling balls than either one of you, or both of you put together. But both of you were still better than me. And I knew all the stuff, right? I knew all the migration paths, and I knew the PAP, and I knew all of those technical components. But it really comes down to the physical execution that matters.
For sure. Agree.
And I've seen both of you in high pressure situations be able to deliver high quality shots. And I've been in those same type of positions, and it wasn't a high quality shot. You know what I mean? So like at the end of the day, it's the ability to execute shots. And really the way you get to that, and this is the thing that I think people miss too. I don't know your answer, but I can guess what it's going to be. When did you start bowling? How old were you?
I started bowling before I was born. My mom was I was almost born in Ohio at the Hoinky. My mom was 7 months pregnant, fell on the lane. I was born the next day. I was like, get me out of here. And I was just talking to my aunt actually yesterday, and she was telling me my parents had me bowling before I could walk. They was helping me push the ball when I was just crawling. So, I mean, literally, I grew up in the bowling alley. As long as I was alive, I only remember being in the bowling alley.
I'm the exact same. I mean, my dad said I started when I was like 2, but I mean, even when I could just crawl, I was pushing around a bowling ball, which is crazy because I'm watching my son do the exact same thing right now. Daddy, bowling alley. I want to watch bowling. I want to watch bowling. All he does is, and I ain't talking about like just regular. He wants to watch PBA, shows on YouTube, and that was me, bowling in the hallway as a young kid. So, I mean, as long as I can remember, bowling was it. It's what I wanted to do.
And see, people, I think they don't understand that. And what I mean by that is because of that, that's how you get good. That's why you are as good as you are, because you bowled over and over and over and over again. And a lot of times I think people, they see a player and they go, oh, well, man, he's really good. Yeah, he's really good. But while you were in school, while you went to college, while you, went to work at Taco Bell, like he was bowling. Mm-hmm. He was with his parents bowling. I also, I look at like the best in the world. You look at like EJ. EJ grew up in the bowling alley, and I know that because I've known EJ my whole life. He grew up in a bowling alley. Simo grew up in a bowling alley. Belmo has said he's grew up in a bowling alley. These people, these people, they're better than everybody else because they've been doing it longer than everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's the component that I think a lot of people, they just forget or they don't realize or they don't fully understand. I mean, we were just like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago watching, we were at the LBC, and the cool thing about that is that the tour players will come there and bowl, and EJ was bowling this week. And I'm watching him bowl, and I'm like, his ball just hits different. Like it doesn't matter what layout I use, it doesn't matter, what line I'm playing, his ball just hits differently.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just different.
It's crazy.
But I'll tell you, we've been in situations where I've seen each of you, your ball just hits different. Like it just hits differently than everybody else's. It's not a question if you're going to strike. It's a question of how many are you going to throw in a row? You know what I mean? And I think that people, sometimes they'll put too much emphasis on these things that don't matter as much. Like it doesn't matter that you're throwing a 30 by 4.5 by 60 degree said ball, with a 2,000 grit surface. No, what you forgot was the 752,000 games that I bowled prior to this one that told me, oh, that ball almost 4-pin, maybe I should make a move now instead of leaving the 4-pin. Or when you were paying attention to the pair in front of you and you saw that the pair obviously was tighter because you've been paying attention, nobody talks about that. But when you go over there, you make an automatic adjustment. And those are things that you guys just inherently do and these top tier players, it's instinctive with them. They don't even, it just comes to them. But it's cool to watch because then it looks like magic. Watching your ball go to the pins, it's like, that looks like magic. How come their balls go to the pins like that?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's experience, right? Experience is the best teacher. So one thing I know is we as humans are good at pattern recognition. So the more you bowl, the more things you see, the more times you see it, the more you're able to pick up on it. So it looks like it's magic or that it's just happening because they've seen it so many times because all they do is bowl. I can tell you from bowling PBA events that they play the lanes differently than the people at my normal house do on league night, right? So there's a different curve. Like as good as I am when I bowl the PBA, there's a learning curve going out there.
And you can't cheat it.
No, you got to do it.
And every player has seen it.
Yeah.
Every one of them has seen it. But even when you throw those, you have those sets where you got 30 out of 36 strikes. People don't understand the work that you put in to get there for so many years and all the bad games and all the mental notes you had to do and all the defeat that you took to even get to that point. Nobody thinks about that. It's just, oh, he's just striking because they're easy. Nah, man, I've worked hard to get there. This ain't, like you don't think Kobe just magically just was great. No, he put in a lot of work to get to where he was.
A lot of work that you didn't see.
No, you ain't got to talk about it. I ain't got to tag you every time I practice. Just know I'm doing it though.
Right. And I say that because my daughter, it's kind of funny, right? So she got into bowling in high school, later in high school, right? And, it's just kind of one of those things. She did a few other sports, a few other things, and then kind of migrated to bowling, which I never pushed it on her because I didn't want to do that. I wanted her to do whatever she wanted to do, right? Well, then she gets to college, right? And then all of a sudden, now she wants to bowl collegiately. Well, then it's a little bit different because now all her collegiate friends, they know who I am, right? So now there's an expectation. Oh, well, you should be good because that's your dad, right? So then, but she's like, oh, well, this isn't. No, wait a minute, it's a little different now, right?
Yeah.
So then she goes to this first year of school and she's like, hey, this summer I want to come down. I want to get better. And I'm like, that's what you're gonna have to do. If you want to get good like you see these other people, you're gonna have to bowl.
Yeah.
You got to come in. It's not fun. It's not pretty. And this summer, it's been a blessing to have her here. It's cool for me to watch, right? Because I'm being able to see her get better.
Yeah.
She came in here and she had a wrist brace and, she's falling off every fourth or fifth shot. And now the wrist brace is gone. The rev rates went up. She's sticking more shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to see the progression. But, she's like, well, what do I got to do? I'm like, you got to bowl.
You can't cheat the grind.
But I'm going to tell you what really, really pushes bowlers like me and George to be better. The expectation. There was a lot of people who expected me to continue to get better and to do better because I had talent. And they really helped to finance it and really helped to push me to stay away from all the negative influences that was in my community and to stay in that bowling alley and keep bowling and doing something positive because my life could have went a completely different way. You know,
For sure.
that expectation, I think, is really what drives us and pushes us to be the best that we could be.
I agree. I mean, then you just want to be better for those around you too. You don't want to let your family down. You don't want to let your friends down. So it just makes you work even harder. I know I want to make my dad proud.
Yep.
Only thing that I want to be the greatest bowler for him. Not for me, for him. And now I want to do it for my kids. You know, because I got 2 sons that want to bowl. And I got to make sure that I set an example that it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You know, and I'm going to help you. But I got to show them that I'm still doing it. Because it's not easy. So I don't want you to think for 1 second that it is at all. But when you're ready, I got you. But it's going to be fun, like you said, watching your daughter get better. It's going to be fun watching them get in the game, you know. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I think people that overlook. They don't realize how important that is. Putting in the work, going and practicing, and going to bowl league 1 night a week or 2 nights a week. That ain't putting in the work.
No.
That's not. But you know, people think, oh well, I bowl league. I average 230 in league. I can. No, bro. It ain't. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, you guys. I mean, all 3 of us actually. We have been bowling,
Yeah.
practicing, and not just practicing games, right? Actual working on something.
Yeah.
Whether it's a hand position, whether it's footwork, whether it's sticking the line, sticking the line, holding the position.
Practicing with a purpose.
Practicing with the purpose, right? It's not just going out there and just throwing shots.
Yeah, that
or
don't do
going
you
out
no
there to
good.
see what. Oh, look! Well, I shot 260. Well, I mean, that's not practice. You're going for score here.
Yeah.
I mean, not the funniest. One of the interesting things is we had Simo here, and he came to practice. He's like, I want to practice. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm watching him warm up or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna practice now. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, do you want me to put it on no tap? He goes, for what? I was like, well, you know, you don't have to shoot the spares. He goes, oh no, I'm shooting the spares. He goes, that's part of the practice. I'm shooting all my spares. So I was like, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? So it is kind of cool to see, you know, one of the best players on the planet. Like he comes in, he practices.
Yeah.
They all do. So it's just one of those I think people don't think about a lot of times. You know, they don't think about that side of it. They see the glory side of it. They see the making the TV, the bowling really well. They see going to TNBA and crushing them, or going to a TAD and bowling really well. But they don't see all the grind and how long the grind took,
Yeah.
and the things that you had to sacrifice to get to that spot.
And it don't stop.
No, it don't. Stop.
It's forever, man. As long as you want to continue to do it, you know, you got to continue to put in the work. I mean, I don't practice as nearly as much as I would like to, but I see a decline in my game. Yeah, I can still throw some score, but it's so sporadic now. Like I have a lot more bad sets than I ever used to, and it's just because I just don't put in the time. Which I get it, but I said, man, I had a few minutes here. I was like, man, I'm gonna go throw some shots, even if it's just for a little bit. Just let me go throw some shots. You know, that's the things that you have to do. You just can't. You can't. There's no way around it. No way around it.
You know, I think people don't really see the grind because people are being introduced to bowling in a way that we didn't get introduced to bowling in the past. In the past, our parents bowled. Everybody bowled, right? They bowled leagues. They went to tournaments and they traveled together in groups. So, you know, the reason why I have been consumed with bowling is because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
I mean, I played basketball, baseball, football, ran track, played golf, did all this academic stuff, but I grew up bowling.
You and me both.
All my friends bowl, all my extended family bowl, all the people who look out for me bowl. So, like, that was really what kind of guided what I did. And because of that, they said, you need to learn how to keep score because they didn't have these fancy machines when I started. You used to have to keep it back
you gotta do it by yourself, yeah.
On that hot telescore
Telescore,
machine. you
yeah,
had your
burn
time
in your
up,
hand,
grease
yeah,
pencil,
buddy.
and the wax paper. You know, so like we had to really learn the pins. Like my mom was really particular with things like this. Like I couldn't get the video game system till I could read the instructions. So I couldn't be out here doing all this unless I knew what those pins were. I knew what the arrows and stuff were. So I had to learn about bowling. My mom used to buy me books. I remember Johnny Petraglia had like a VHS tape because they didn't have DVDs, right? So yeah, it was a VHS tape. And it was like teaching you about bowling. Like I had Johnny Petraglia stuff. I had all the mental game books. So I kind of had a advantage over most people my age because I had all this extra knowledge.
I was a student of the game myself. I was a bowling nerd, wanted to learn as much as I could. You know, when the other kids was in the game room, I was down watching my dad bowl or, you know, practicing myself. But I was stuck bowling. Like I was focused on that. I wasn't running around the bowling alley with the other kids. I was worried, man, how can I help my dad get this 10 pin out? You know what I'm saying? That's what I wanted to do. And I mean, it turned into a good thing though.
I was kind of the same way, but more on the technical side, right? I wanted to understand why do they have different course shapes? You know, why when you put the bowling ball with the pin over here, why does that roll like this? When you put the pin over there, why does it roll like that? So it was the same kind of thing, except I wanted to understand more about the internal components and the cover styles. Why does this ball absorb oil? Why do bowling balls need to absorb oil? What's the benefit to that? So same kind of thing, but just from a more of a technical side of things, right?
Yeah, it's weird. So like my parents, neither one of my parents were great bowlers. My mom averaged like 145. My dad averaged 180. You know, like they weren't exceptional bowlers by any means, and I didn't have any of the technical aspect. I just liked to bowl, man. Like you
Yeah,
know,
I'm saying.
I really enjoyed. I think the camaraderie about bowling, the competitive aspect to bowling, and the fact that I know that one, I have an individual obligation to try to score, but that also helps my team, which makes it feel better for everybody when we win. So, like now, I think the common thing is to make the best, strongest team you could do. But when I bowled junior league, they didn't do that. They put the best bowlers with the worst bowlers. So I was always the highest average in my division, and I always bowled with the people with the lowest average. But we always had a chance to win if we didn't win. You know, so that really taught me something about life. You know, that it's not really about who's the best all the time. It's about putting together a good team and working together and fighting to
Making
win.
others better around you.
100%.
That's what a great player does. They make those better around them. You know what I mean? I remember Kobe won a championship with a bunch of no-name guys. You know, it made everybody better around him, you know. That's what it's all about. But yeah, I mean, just because you got the strongest team, I mean, you always gonna have the W at the end of the day. Because I didn't been on both sides of it. And I won championships with, you know, lower average bowlers, and I had the best bowlers in the nation, and we ain't do nothing. So, but yeah, man, bowling definitely kept me out of a lot of trouble. For sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's just some more insight for the people that are watching. So, I mean, if you guys, like I said, if you like this content, man, you know, tap in. You know, leave some comments. Tell us what you want to see next. You know, it's not something that we do often, but I really do like doing it and getting other perspectives, especially when I got two really good players that we can kind of talk a little bit about various topics with. And I think ultimately that's best for the people that are watching it because it gives them a different insight.
Yeah, it's cool to talk about things that you normally don't get a chance to talk about, you know, especially with, you know, friends of so many years, just to, sit back and kick it and talk. I like this, for sure.
Yeah, man. Let us know how you started bowling. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. How long, where? I want to know. I like that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, that's it.